Every year, thousands of missionaries serving all over the world return home from honorable missions. They've experienced difficulties, shared testimony, and witnessed miracles. And who will hear those amazing stories? A few hundred people over the course of their life? These are stories that uplift. These are stories that encourage. These are stories that inspire. On Return with Honor, we aim to share these stories with the world. Welcome to Return with Honor. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Return with Honor, the show where we interview recently returned missionaries. I'm Chuck James.
I'm Christine James. Tonight, we are interviewing Mary Warner. We're so excited to have you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
So let's just start off with the easy question. When and where did you serve?
I served in Bakersfield, California, 2014 to 2016.
So you just got back.
Fresa.
Well, good. So you were Spanish speaking, right?
Right.
Okay. So what was kind of the biggest culture shock you experienced? I know you stayed within the States, but even then, a lot of times there's kind of differences between one area, one part of the country versus another part, and especially as you were diving into more of that Latino culture. So what were some of the things you experienced?
The incredible amounts of food that they would give us on our plates. They love us so much, and they show that through their food. And so we'd have our plates just piled high. But my mom told me that I couldn't gain any weight because she wouldn't send me new clothes. So, but I still like it though.
What was the biggest surprise for you as you got into the mission field?
Just in general?
Yeah.
Probably how little I know and how much I had to learn. It's a very humbling experience, which is very true.
I think a lot of missionaries experience that. We've heard similar things from other missionaries
Yes.
that we've interviewed. What was the, well, you talked a little about food. Let's talk about that. What was your new favorite food, and what was the worst thing that you ended up eating?
Okay, tacos de lengua are my favorite from Patty Mercado. And honestly, I read this question before, that what's a food I didn't like, and I cannot think of anything. I loved everything, but I did hear about menudo, and I never tried that. I was told many times that I would not like it. So maybe in the future, if I try menudo, I like it.
Well, you were lucky then you got to enjoy everything that you were fed.
Yes.
What was the biggest challenge for you as you prepared to go on your mission?
Preparing. I don't know, just mentally, just thinking about the time that I'd be away from my family, a year and a half. It's kind of daunting when you first start out. You don't know if you'll be able to do it, but at the same time, it's really exciting. So I think just thinking about the time, the separation from family and my normal life, I didn't know what to expect.
Now, from the time you got your mission call to the time you left, did you have a lot of time, or was it pretty close to the time that you got the call to the time you left?
Yeah, I had about 3 months. So I think it was a perfect amount of time, and my sister and I planned it out that I could go to her wedding. So there was kind of anticipation for that. So I wasn't too bored, I guess you'd say. So it was a good amount of time.
Well, that's good, yeah. Some people have hardly any time, and they got to rush to get everything ready to go. And then some people, it seems like they have months and months, and they kind of sit around just waiting to go. So It's good that you had things to fill your time.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your mission. How's the church doing there? How's the missionary work going?
In Bakersfield, California. Okay, so the question was, how is the church doing there? How is the work?
Right.
Well, I'd say it was doing great. It wasn't, some people say, like, was it a huge baptizing mission or was it smaller? And I was really grateful for the type of missionary work it was. I'd say we had to work for it, that it wasn't just given to us. But the people we found were people that we maybe, like I felt at times I wouldn't find because it was hard. But as we kept pushing, then we would see those miracles and the work really progressed. We were able to find people to teach. And so our mission, it kind of just went up as I was there.
So you say you had to work for it. Did you find kind of unique ways or things that you did to find new people to teach?
I don't know. I tried to be creative, but I'd say the mission itself, I'm trying to think what we did. It was always emphasized, of course, to work through the members. And then also our president, if we weren't teaching, if we were teaching, if we had a ton of lessons planned out for one day, he said to schedule it so you at least had an hour to find new people to teach. Because sometimes in missionary work you see where you have, like, you're teaching a lot and your teaching pool is high, but then it kind of drops. People aren't prepared, and so then you're kind of back to ground zero. But he wanted to help us stay constant and to always have finding time every day.
I think that's good advice.
Yeah. I had a question. You are our 7th interview, but you are our first sister missionary that we have on our show. So we're excited about that. Woo-hoo. So tell me about that. Do you feel like it was more difficult as a sister to be a missionary, or did you just own that and just went with your talents and your gifts as a sister? And how do you feel about that?
Well, we always joked. I love how you said, "Did you just own that?" Because we always joked that the hermanas, there are only 13 of us, the Spanish-speaking sisters, that we were all really sassy, and so I don't know. We had a lot of fun together, and I don't know. I loved being a sister missionary. It was awesome, and I feel like as the mission went on, it kind of evened out the amount of sisters to elders. So there's kind of a balance there. It's really cool.
Well, I have another question to add. So how was it? Spanish-speaking people.
Whew, that was good. It was a constant effort. And as you two know, I started my mission in an English area. We found that there was that one family, the Rubios,
yep,
Spanish. But definitely it was a translating game back and forth to English and Spanish. I was grateful. Whenever my companions were sick, I studied the language. And so I think I might have been lazier personally if I went to another country. So I think the Lord knew that I needed to have to work for it even more.
So, I mean, going through that process of learning a language is a challenge, and it is really a process. When did you feel like, okay, I'm actually speaking Spanish. And I know for me, because I learned Spanish, there was a point where I realized I'm thinking in Spanish. I'm not just translating anymore, but I'm thinking in that language. So how was that process for you?
Well, I don't know. I can't like pinpoint a time, but I know what you mean. You're listening in church, especially because we get really fluent. At least I tell people I'm fluent in Spanish, but gospel Spanish. So at church, at least, sometimes I would think, oh, are they speaking English? And then I get really excited and be like, no, it feels like home. And I've been going to church every Sunday in Spanish, and so it just is second nature. But definitely in the States side of it, I need to brush up on my other areas of Spanish, not just gospel Spanish.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a challenge, but something that a lot of missionaries go through, and certainly would be more challenging, like you said, not being completely immersed all the time to learn that language. But you get blessed, and you do learn.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go ahead and announce to our visitors who are here listening, you are welcome to ask a question, and Mary will most likely ask or answer that for you. Go ahead in the chat, put a /Q, and we will be able to see the question, and we'll be able to give it to Mary to answer. Okay? So
as a sister who is preparing for her mission, I think it's a little bit different than for most young men. It's kind of more an expectation for young men than it is for young women. How was that for you? Did you grow up knowing I'm going to serve a mission, or did there come a point in your life where you said, this is what I know the Lord wants me to do? How did that all work for you?
For me, I don't have like a really cool story or one moment that it happened. It just kind of happened and flowed naturally. And in the training center, my mom sent me a letter, and on the back of it, I had drawn a picture of myself in primary as a missionary. So I think it's just something that I've always looked up to my dad and my grandpa and my cousins, and just seeing them, just how they look when they talk about their missions. I was like, I want that. And so it just kind of came as a slow and steady process.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I think that it's great to have examples in our lives, like you talk about the examples that you had, and now you become one of those examples for other people. So that's fantastic. So can you share any experiences with us that increased your faith?
Oh, that's a big question. I talked about someone that I love very much in my talk that I gave when I came home, my homecoming talk. And her name's Martha Pulido. And I really just the people I served are who helped increase my faith the most. And Martha, she worked in the fields, so she picked grapes in very humble circumstances and living. And one day, Hermana Aguilar, my companion, and I, we went to her house. And it was, hot. You live in the desert as well, so you know. It was very hot, and we were very tired. And she could see the wear and tear on our face, that we were just not having it. But she testified to us. She said, Hermanas, I know you're tired. I know that you need a break. But just whenever you feel like you need to give up, think of the Savior who wandered homeless, who was tired and hungry, and but he kept going. He finished, and that really impacted me, and something that I've always remembered. And I'm grateful for the people that I met that helped me increase my faith even more.
Great.
It's amazing sometimes the people that God will put in your life in order to help you, even while you're out there trying to help them.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So what were some of your big challenges on your mission, and how did you overcome them?
Biggest challenges. I think just mentally, I've talked about other missionaries as well. Kind of how I talked about before I left, just how it's daunting, the time. It's like it's a year and a half, like it feels so long, and you work all day till the end of the day. And there's just so many times, I feel like every missionary can relate to this, that you don't know if you're going to be able to finish. Like you want to, and but it just seems like a lot at some points. But how did I make it through? It's hard to pinpoint. Like I think just working hard, even when I didn't feel like it, when I didn't feel happy or like the work was progressing like I wanted it to. Just working through it, and companions really helped me as well, to be able to stay strong.
That's great. I think that's something that we've heard from some of the other missionaries, return missionaries that we've interviewed, and something that I don't think always comes out when you hear the talks in sacrament meeting when they come back, and that's that missionary work is hard. It's not all wonderful spiritual experiences. Those happen, but that's not your whole day. And I think it is important for people who are preparing to go out to understand it is work, and the best way to get through it is to work.
The song that came to my mind was "Put Your Shoulder to the Wheel." Anyway.
So we have a good question here from Andrea S. She says, Mary, do you have any advice or suggestions for how to be supportive to newly returned missionaries?
Which is a very good question.
Sister Slater, I love you. She's one of my leaders, and okay, that is a very
awesome.
Good. Be supportive to newly returned missionaries. I would say one of the things is to recognize the changes that they've made. Because sometimes you go back home and your friends kind of see you how you were before, and you're the same person, you are, but there are things that you've learned and you've grown, and it really helps. My mom especially has treated me and has recognized those changes, and so it helps me to keep it and to keep it up. So I'd say just to look for that and to remind them of their mission.
Great. I think Andrea brings up a great point that it's a bit of a transition when you come off your mission. I know I didn't realize it when I came off mine. I'm the oldest of my siblings, and so my brother went on his mission pretty much right after I came home. And when he was coming home, my dad asked me that question. He said, what do I do to help him? Basically, he said, you were kind of weird when you came home, and we didn't know what to do. So,
That happens.
but I think you're right. Kind of recognize those changes, just be supportive and help them as they transition through. I think another thing is to help them be busy. As a missionary, you're dedicated. Every minute of your day is planned out. And I know when I came home, it was kind of like, what do I do now? And I think that's a big help as well. Great question. Thank you. Did you have any other experiences that you wanted to share?
Mm-hmm. I don't have anything anything coming to mind.
So, did you know Elder Hickman?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So we interviewed him, and he told us about a scary moment. Was there a scary moment in your mission?
I don't know. I was talking to my dad about this because I was out with the missionaries the other day, and I was like, wow, we were in a scary part of town. And then I thought about it. I was like, wait, I was in way scarier parts of town as a missionary. But I don't know, I just felt so protected. I didn't think that anything could go wrong. As a missionary, you kind of become like a child. You're not watching the news, you're not watching TV. You're really protected and immersed in the gospel. And so you just don't think of anything that would go wrong. But also, you're smart and you know where to go when and where not to go when, if that makes sense. So, but
yeah, maybe sister missionaries are smart. Elders, I know I had lots of things happen that shouldn't have happened.
You sound like my zone leaders.
That's good. I'm glad that you didn't have that, and that you just maybe just felt protected and secure. And even out here in our little town where there's no lights over the streets, it was not too scary.
Right. And people would tell us, they told us, you know the street we lived on in your town? People would tell us, don't go to this street. Scary people live there. And we're like, okay. We went there.
Maybe they meant you. You guys were the scary ones.
Hey.
Were there any families or individuals that you got to work with that really stand out, where you got to see kind of that conversion, that true conversion that happened with them?
I would say in my last area, my family could tell you I talk about them all the time. Well, maybe, I don't know. But the family is Saldivar. I came into the area, and Hermana Soto and Hermana Simpson, I think Hermana AC too, you remember her. They had found this family, and Henry was a Jehovah's Witness, and he wasn't active though at the time when the missionaries found him, and he was kind of just hesitant on it, but all of a sudden he just started asking so many questions to the missionaries, and he became just super converted. I love his testimony of the word of wisdom. Giving up coffee, he would always complain to the sisters that he had no energy and that he just felt sad. And it was amazing because the minute he gave up coffee and he stopped drinking it, he could see that difference. He felt the Spirit and he had energy to do his work. And so it was really cool. And then slowly but surely, his wife Mirna, who Hermana Soto chased down into her bedroom. We joke about that a lot. But anyways, Mirna ended up coming around by the time I was there. And so we were teaching her, and she was baptized as well. And then his cousin, Christian, he showed a lot of faith and got work off on Sundays. I was able to come to church. And in his testimony, every time without fail, he says, I've been looking for this for 10 years. And when the hermanos knocked on my door and they told me these things, I knew that my prayers were finally answered. He read the Bible every day for 10 years, looking for that. And it was really powerful to be with that family.
Oh, that's great.
Nice. It's amazing to me, too, that once he had the faith to start correcting some of the actions in his life, then they started getting answers and more blessings. And I just, think that's just a pattern for the rest of us to follow.
Yeah.
How has your mission changed you or the way you see the world?
Mm-hmm. I was talking about change, wasn't I? It's funny because I was like, I've lived with myself, so sometimes it's hard to see the change in yourself. Actually, the number one thing is seeing how vital the gospel is to me in my life. I think before my mission, I grew up in the church and did everything right, but if your heart is not in it, you're not going to stand strong, no matter who you are, no matter how righteous you've been. If you don't want to be righteous and you don't want to be doing these things, and Satan, you're probably going to fall. But if we want to be living the gospel, then it's something I've seen. If I want to do it, then I'm going to do it and stay.
Oh, great. Thank you. We do have a question from one of the other listeners here, Caroline, and she asks, are you doing anything to keep up the Spanish language?
Hello, Carol. That is Sister Slater's daughter.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome. Caroline, keep up the Spanish. So I'm not watching novellas, but I am watching a TV show called In Between the Times. So I'm trying to watch TV, and then occasionally when I'm being good, I'll call a member or someone I taught on my mission to just talk to them on the phone, see how they're doing.
It's a very good idea.
Thanks.
I like that.
I know for me, one of the things that I've tried to do is I was told when I was on my mission that if I'd always pray in Spanish, I would never lose the language. So that's one of the things that I continue to try to do. So I'll throw that one out there for you.
And I think it was one of our stake presidents. I'm not sure if it was him or not. But he said he would read from the Book of Mormon every day in Spanish. And then that helped him. So there's another thought.
That's awesome. I tried that. I will keep trying.
Keep it up. And
okay.
It was hard fought to be able to learn that language. You don't want to lose it, right?
Right. That's true.
So if you could give some advice to those preparing for a mission, what would it be?
I would say be with your family and love them, and think about how your mission is going to affect them, and also as you're teaching, you will think of different family members many times, and kind of how they've impacted and changed your life. And so before you leave, maybe I tried the best I could to make those memories with them and to come to know them more as a person and on a spiritual level.
That's great. Family certainly is important, and I think many times we underestimate the impact that our various family members have on us until we are in the mission field. So that's great advice.
Thanks.
How about for those who are in the mission field right now? If you had some advice for them, if you could talk to them, what would you say?
I actually thought of this the other day, something I wanted to tell myself when I was a missionary. My last 2 transfers, I finally started doing this more, but just to really emphasize to every person you teach and make sure they understand who they are, that they're a child of God.
Oh, that's great.
do you think that we forget because life is hard and what being on a mission is just tough? Do you think that's why we need to be reminded?
Right. Well, definitely that, to be able to make it through hard times. And just, I think for me, because I knew it growing up and I just thought it was a given, we forget sometimes that we need to be reminded.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that don't know and don't feel that love, don't feel appreciated. And so I think you're right. That's one of the blessings that missionaries can bring into the lives of others, is to help them understand who they truly are.
Yeah.
That's advice. How about for parents? Do you have any advice for them to how to help prepare their young man or young woman for their mission?
Prepare them. I tend to over-prepare her, and it's really annoying. But my dad, the best thing he told me was to relax before I left. He said, enjoy this time. And my brother-in-law would be swimming. He said, enjoy swimming, and his last time. And just to know that's okay. Have fun before you go.
No, that's good. Great. Is there anything we haven't asked you that you'd like to talk about?
I think you covered it all. I'm just trying to figure out how to be a member missionary right now. So if you have any advice for that, that would be awesome as well.
Do you have opportunities to go out with? Well, you just went out, missionaries.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I realized after listening to all these interviews is that you have to kind of learn to talk to everybody. You can't just select or pick or choose who you think is ready. And so do you still do that? Do you still talk to everybody?
Yeah, that's something I need to work on. I really just would always say, we would look in the mirror and say, I fear no man. So maybe I just need to start doing that again. Say that in the mirror. I'm going to start doing, I'll do that tonight.
I like that. I like that.
So I did have another question, and it's, I think this came out probably more towards the end of your mission. I don't think it was there before you left, which is the church has come out with the new lessons for the missionaries. I think there's 2 before their mission and 2 while you're on your mission and 2 after, or something like that. Are you familiar with that program?
I am not.
Okay.
Either I skipped it or
I think it came out probably after you had left, so I didn't know if they were catching up with everybody or how that was working. So this is a program. It's supposed to help, I think, transition from not being a missionary to being a missionary, and then to not being a missionary again. So.
Okay, if you get a missionary that came home literally a month after me, I remember my companion, she was coming home right after me. She was doing that program. So
you just missed out, huh?
Yeah, barely.
All right.
Well, there are books at the Deseret bookstore or other bookstores that are specifically to help return missionaries. So maybe that's something you could look into.
Yeah, my mom got me Taking Off the Tag, that book.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
We were only privileged to have you in our area for a few weeks, but you were a great missionary while you were here, so I have every confidence that you'll continue to be a good member now that you're transitioning back into normal life, I guess you'd call it.
Thank you very much.
Now, I have a question that does not necessarily have anything to do with missionary work, although you spend your whole missionary time serving and loving God, putting Him first. And one of the things I tell my children, I'm having an echo, so it's hard for me to speak. How about this? I'll do this. One of the things I tell my kids is that they need to marry someone who loves God more than they love them. And so what characteristics do you think describes that? what kind of a person loves God more than they love somebody else? Puts him first.
Well, that is a very good question. At least observing missionaries or members or just people in general, the people that love God the most are the people that serve others and look out for their needs. And so I find that very attractive when guys or just anyone that is serving others, you just look at them and you're like, wow, and you want to be like them. And so, I don't know, I would say reaching out.
Awesome. I love that.
Hopefully all the young men out there who are looking to get a date with you will be taking notes and figure out exactly how to win you over. Well, Mary, thank you for being on our show tonight. We really appreciate your willingness to be here and the stories that you shared, your experiences. It sounds like you're a great missionary, and we really appreciate you being here tonight.
Of course. Thank you, guys. This is creative.
Oh, maybe she can bear her testimony in Spanish.
Oh, yeah. Would you like to bear your testimony in Spanish?
Afírmame. Okay. Me gustaría compartir con ustedes que amo al Señor y cuando estoy sirviendo a las otras personas, que estoy creciendo en el amor de Dios también. Y algo que me ha bendecido tanto es el libro de Mormón. Solamente abriendo las páginas del libro puedo sentir el poder adentro. Y lo más es cuando estoy aplicando las enseñanzas en el libro de Mormón. Es cuando estoy veniendo más cerca a Cristo. Sé que ese evangelio es verdadero y que me ha cambiado mi vida y las vidas de muchas otras personas. Que va creciendo y que vale la pena cuando algo está difícil, que con la oración y la fe hay confianza que el Señor tiene su vida en la mano y todo va a pasar bien en el fin. En el nombre de Jesucristo, amén.
Amen. Thank you very much. Okay, well, thanks again for being on the show. Tune in to our next episode when we will be interviewing Jeanette Peterson. To check out past episodes of the show, visit our website, returnwithhonorshow.com, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you or someone you know would be a great guest for our show, let us know by sending us an email at rwhshow@gmail.com. And we'll see you next time on Return with Honor.
Bye.